This is Andrew Wicklund with PRC Software. We're in Tempus, the Time Bandit, our scheduled Monte Carlo analysis tool, and we're going to do a training module now on adding a risk register. So to this point, we've gone through the entire import section. We created a new file. We went all the way through testing our network. We looked at the Gantt chart. We added an uncertainty register in. So we added our uncertainty based on our WBS. So we went and right-clicked each one of these in the WBS and found pre-bid through post. And then we've got our uncertainty register built. Now we want to take, so those are for items that have inherent uncertainty. Like you've scheduled them, you just know they're variable. So like, hey, it's a 10-minute drive to the store, but I know it's 10 to 15 minutes. That's the kind of variability we're looking at. Not, uh-oh, I get in a car accident and now I'm an hour delayed. So what we're going to do is go over to the risk register section, and I'm going to, so you'll notice there's three sections. There's a expand all, collapse all, export and import. Import and export will get you your data to, you can get a register in from Excel very quickly or from one of our other tools. The risk register section, you've got a task mapping and a network logic section. In the risk section, I'm just going to add risk R01. And I'm going to say there could be a funding delay. I'm just typing this in. Once again, like I said, if I hit export, I can export my risks only. It exports in just a second. So, but from here, I'm going to come up with a probability. So if I said, well, based on where we're at right now, yada, 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 maybe it's a 25% chance of that happening. And if we did have a funding delay, it's going to be somewhere between, I'm going to say 30 to 60 calendar days. So I've got a triangular distribution. I could change these around as I've talked about before, like this brings my upper and lower bound. But for now, we're just going to put that on triangular, or you could use a beta per, whichever one fits the situation. Like you might use a uniform distribution if you just didn't know the difference between, it's going to be somewhere between the min and the max, but there's nowhere to skew it to. If you think it's going to trend towards a number, that's what the most likely really skews it towards. But now that I've got that in here, I'm going to click this map task button to the right. If you can see that towards the top right here. Map tasks. And it's got my whole WBS in here. And I can find an area, and I'm going to do third-party contractors here. I'm going to tie that into third-party contractors. And then you'll notice it shows procure third-party contractors, and there's a funding delay. When I go over to the Gantt chart, I also see it as a red line item here. So it's not actually adjusting the schedule until you run the simulation. It's just showing you where it would land. So there's where you have that risk event, that single risk event put in. Now, if I wanted to link this same risk to another activity for, and we'll just pick an activity, say it goes to site mob as well, I could put a different range on that and say, you know what, that's only 10 to 20 days delay. 10 to 30. And then it's linked into that same risk at 25% chance. If it happens, it happens. So it'll happen in both places, but it'll happen somewhere 30 to 60 up here and 10 to 30 down here. So if I remove that one, and I'm just going to put risk R02, and I'm going to put vendor goes bust. Not a graceful way to say it. Let's say there's only a 10% chance. But say your vendor were to go bust. And if that happens, it's going to take you at least a month to go out for a new cycle of bids or something like that. Maybe you have to go completely out for bids. That vendor goes bust. If I tie that to the exact same activity, so if I tie it to anywhere in the series, then the network logic is just going to take care of itself. If I come in and tie it to the same activity, now I've got 10% chance a delay because a contractor went out, and then we have to go back and recycle. So now I've got a funding delay. That's us internally, 25% chance, 30 to 60, and then 10% chance this vendor goes bust. And then we have to go out for new bids. So when I look at this, and from the task mapping view, you can see, now I can see it's just it's the reverse of the risk view. So from here, I could look at my entire schedule and then just click, I want to map a risk here, and it's going to show me my open risks. So from the network logic view, the interesting thing is, if you have a situation where you've linked multiple risks into the same activity, by default, and this is hard to find in some tools, it's going to do it in series or in parallel. And sometimes it's all or nothing, series or parallel. What we added is a little bit, so you could add some, and I'm going to take and just draw this link from here to here. And now I put these in series. So now that funding delay could happen, and then the vendor goes bust. So now it could happen either or. Up towards the top left, there's a risk link method. So I'm going to say I'm going to go back to parallel. And that puts me back to parallel for both of these risks. So, same thing if I want to go back to series real quickly. Now those risks will hit me in series if they happen. And then whatever was connected to third-party contractors, that's going to be delayed by both risks on the select few times where they both hit at the same time. So anyway, it gives you the ability to be a little bit more robust in what you're doing. And like I said, from the this is real quick and easy to export. You can import them back in. The task mapping view is real easy. You click map risk, and you can see what the risks are. And then you can map it from that side. So whatever is easier for you, we wanted to give people multiple ways to be able to do this quickly. The trash can or the X's to the right will kill a risk event and kill it from your risk register. Now that I've added uncertainty and risk events, if I go to my dashboards and then just run a simulation, the cool thing it'll do now is you'll see that it will add an uncertainty only line and an uncertainty plus risk line in. So I can start to get my uncertainty in all of these values. I can get it uncertainty only, or I can see these two risk events that I tied in, and I can look at my scatter plot and see how the risk events impact me and what have you. So when you look at the risk register, it's real quick and easy to use, kind of like the uncertainty register. The thought goes behind how and how to do the correct linking and are your probabilities and your durations in line with reality. If you can just link them to your schedule, and as long as you have good data, you're going to get really good values on the backside of this. So that's kind of how to use the uncertainty register. You'll see my expand and collapse buttons, my import export buttons. So in a nutshell, that's how to use the risk register. And then once we do the risk register, we're off and running to the reports.